From Senna and Prost to Hamilton and Rosberg, F1 has seen some of the greatest rivalries in motorsport history. These intense head-to-head battles have given fans unforgettable moments of high-stakes drama, heart-stopping collisions, and exhilarating wheel-to-wheel action. As we approach the end of another decade of F1, it's time to look back at the 10 most epic rivalry races that have left us on the edge of our seats, cheering on our favourite drivers and teams. Get ready to relive some of the most iconic moments in F1 history as we count down the top 10 rivalry races of the decade. Number 10. Lewis Hamilton vs Nico Rosberg, 2013 to 2016. Hamilton and Rosberg, longtime friends and karting rivals, had an intense rivalry at Mercedes. Rosberg, considered less of a driver than Hamilton, beat him to the 2016 championship, becoming only the second teammate to do so. Although Mercedes dominated the turbo hybrid era, their rivalry increased when the championship was on the line. Rosberg had weaker skills but used everything he had to create team disruption and win the title. Hamilton had some issues, and Rosberg's efforts allowed him to win by 5 points. Although Hamilton scored more points overall, Rosberg retired after the win, frustrating Hamilton, who couldn't seek revenge. Number 9. Alain Jones vs Nelson Piquet, 1980 to 1981. The unlikely pairing of prankster Nelson Piquet and no-nonsense Australian Alain Jones became title rivals during F1's first ground effects era. Piquet had already shown his talent in junior categories and was thrust into the role of Brabham team leader in 1979 after Niki Lauda's sudden retirement, while Jones could have been the champion that year if the Williams FW07 had been more reliable. In 1980 and 1981, Jones and Piquet were often the ones to beat, with Jones taking 5 wins to Piquet's 3 in 1980, but losing to Piquet in 1981 due to some poor luck and mistakes. The two had a dramatic clash at the Canadian GP in 1980 and exchanged harsh words after a contretemps at Zolder in 1981. Jones won the final race of the 1981 season, but Piquet's 5th-place finish was enough to secure his first world title, ending a rivalry that likely would have continued into 1982 if not for his replacement, Keke Rosberg, joining Williams. The two drivers had a combined total of 4 world titles and 35 F1 wins. Number 8. Jim Clark vs Graham Hill, 1962 to 1968. Jim Clark and Graham Hill achieved 4 world titles and 39 F1 wins together, competing in 5 world championship campaigns. Hill challenged Clark frequently, often causing him trouble, even though Clark ultimately emerged as the victor. In 1962, Hill's BRM P57 was more reliable than Clark's Lotus 25 and won the championship in the final race. In 1964, Hill and John Surtees battled Clark for the crown, and Ferrari won both championships due to Clark's mechanical issues and Hill's clashes with Lorenzo Bandini. Hill won 2 races in 1965 and joined Clark at Lotus the following year, where he was highly competitive despite not winning any races. Hill picked up Lotus after Clark's death in 1968 and went on to win his second driver's crown. Number 7. Lewis Hamilton vs Max Verstappen, 2017 to present. The combined world titles and F1 wins of Hamilton and Verstappen stand at 7 and 118 respectively as of the 2021 US GP. Although their rivalry began long before, it's only recently escalated to a proper title fight due to the limited technical changes implemented in 2021, which evened the playing field between Mercedes and Red Bull. While Hamilton has his sights set on the World Championship, Verstappen's goal has been to secure occasional race wins. As the two battle it out on the track, both have scored some spectacular victories and made mistakes. However, their rivalry has also turned physical, resulting in clashes and even hospitalization. As their fight continues, it remains to be seen who will come out on top, but it's sure to be just as compelling as their 2021 title fight. Number 6. Lewis Hamilton vs Fernando Alonso, 2007 to present. Alonso and Hamilton, with 9 world titles and 132 F1 wins between them, make a formidable duo deserving more recognition. Their rivalry began in 2007 at McLaren, ending the season tied on points with Hamilton taking 2nd place. Alonso's relationship with McLaren deteriorated during the Spygate saga, leading him to return to Renault for 2008. Despite often starring against each other, neither driver could defeat Vettel in his Red Bulls. Since 2014, Hamilton has been a championship contender with Mercedes, while Alonso struggled with uncompetitive cars. In 2021, Alonso's Alpine has rarely allowed him to challenge Hamilton. Number 5. Michael Schumacher vs Damon Hill, 1994 to 1998. Combining for 8 world titles and 113 F1 wins, Damon Hill unexpectedly found himself leading the Williams team in 1994 after the death of F1's established star. Michael Schumacher emerged as a top driver to challenge Ayrton Senna before the Brazilian's death, but Hill and Williams rallied, with Hill winning several races as Schumacher and Benetton faced clashes with officials. In the end, Schumacher took the 1994 championship by just 1 point after a dramatic collision with Hill in the Australian GP. Schumacher and Benetton dominated in 1995, but Hill won 4 GPs and finished second in the driver standings. In 1996, Hill won the championship for Williams, but lost his drive for the following year. Afterward, Hill struggled to compete with Schumacher's Ferrari while driving for Arrows and Jordan, but there were still memorable battles between the two, including the 1997 Hungarian GP and 1998 Belgian GP. Number 4. James Hunt versus Niki Lauda, 1975 to 1977. In 1976, James Hunt and Niki Lauda, who were friends and had come up together through the junior ranks, were involved in a thrilling title fight. Hunt's first championship GP win had been under pressure from Lauda's Ferrari, but the Austrian dominated the season. When Emerson Fittipaldi left McLaren, Hunt got a chance and took advantage of it. Lauda had won 4 of the 6 races, but the season was full of drama, including Hunt's exclusion and reinstatement from victory in Spain. Lauda's near-fatal crash at the Nürburgring gave Hunt more momentum. Hunt won the title by a single point after a late pit stop in appalling conditions at the Japanese finale. Lauda won his second title in 1977, and both retired from F1 in 1979. Lauda returned in 1982 and won a third crown in 1984, after another friendly fight, this time with Alain Prost. Number 3. Michael Schumacher versus Mika Häkkinen, 1998 to 2001. 2 drivers with 9 world titles and 111 F1 wins between them. Schumacher's toughest rival was Mika Häkkinen, whose speed was Ferrari's biggest obstacle to ending their 20-year drought for the driver's title. After a controversial past, Schumacher and Häkkinen battled for the championship in 1998, which Häkkinen won in the final round. Schumacher's leg-breaking crash in 1999 affected the season, and Häkkinen won his second championship. In 2000, Schumacher and Ferrari finally secured the title, and they continued to dominate afterward. Although Häkkinen won 2 races in 2001, he retired from F1 at the end of the season. Häkkinen won their most famous encounter at Spa in 2000. Number 2. Nigel Mansell versus Nelson Piquet, 1986 to 1991. In total, Mansell and Piquet had 4 combined world titles and 54 F1 wins. When Piquet joined Williams in 1986, he expected to share number 1 status with Mansell, but found him to be a tougher opponent than anticipated. Both drivers won 4 races that year, but Mansell suffered a tyre blowout in the final race, allowing Prost to take the championship. Piquet won 2 races in 1986 and 1987 with technical advantages that he hadn't shared with Mansell, causing some tension between the two. After a serious crash in 1987, Piquet was never quite the same, and Mansell won the title in 1992. The rivalry was generally clean on track, unlike some of the others on this list. The two had one final duel at the 1990 Australian GP, where Piquet emerged victorious. Number 1. Alain Prost versus Ayrton Senna, 1985 to 1993. Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost rivalry is the fiercest, most controversial, and most famous in F1 history. Their careers overlapped considerably, and the rivalry began in 1988 when Senna joined McLaren, where Prost was already a double world champion. Tensions rose when Senna edged Prost towards the pit wall at the 1988 Portuguese GP. Senna won the title in 1988 and finished 8-7 ahead on wins, although Prost scored more points. Things deteriorated in 1989 when Prost felt Senna reneged on a non-overtaking agreement, leading to a collision at the Japanese GP. Following bitter arguments, Prost was confirmed as world champion and moved to Ferrari. Prost secured his 4th world title and retired, and Senna became the old guard against the up-and-coming Schumacher in 1994. Unfortunately, that rivalry never got the chance to develop due to Senna's death at the 1994 San Marino GP. So, this is it for today. Let us know in the comment section below which era of F1 rivalry race was your favourite. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Till then, take care of yourself, and we'll see you in the next video.